thank you for having us back. We appreciate you inviting us here today. If you remember us a few months ago, we're here from Hanscom Federal Credit Union. My name is Melody Anoli, and I am the branch manager in the Billerica location.
Hi, I'm Lauren Cameron. I am the branch manager of the Bedford location.
Hi, I'm Colleen Bellevue, and I'm from the Devons and the Littleton location.
And today we want to talk about home and identity scams. And what does that mean, right? That means maybe mail scams, grandparent scams, elderly abuse scams, social media, romances.
And Facebook.
Yep, online dating, AI, which is artificial intelligence scams, and wire fraud. There's so many different scams we can talk about. I want to talk about first mail scams, right? Like in your mailbox. Biggest scam, I think, is you know, things go through the mail. I happen to find a service at the USPS. It's free. It's a free service. I don't know if you both know about this, but you can sign up and you can every single day get a notification of what mail is coming into your mailbox. And I was really happy that I did this because it allows me to be able to see what bills are coming and what important documents are coming. Well, one day, I don't know if I told you guys this, but I ended up supposedly getting a letter from the IRS. And that day, I went to my mailbox and it wasn't there. So right away, that's a red flag. What do? What would the first thing that you would do?
Right, I would call the mail.
Absolutely.
Right, so I went down to the postmaster to my community and I put in I don't know, just like a complaint or like just try to track it. And sure enough, that particular letter got delivered to someone else's house. Now, think of the IRS. Think of what they have in there. They have your social security number. They have like,
your date of birth.
Yeah.
Everything.
Name,
So that's something that I really think that letter ended up going someplace else and it got into the hands of somebody else other than us. So that's something that I really think that was important to me. I don't know if you both ever,
That's
saw
scary,
that.
all that personal information being out there.
And you just went on to their website and signed up for this.
Yep, it's a free service. You just put in your address, your name, and starts immediately the next day. You start seeing what's scanned or what's going to be in your mailbox for that day.
Wow. Which is good because with mailboxes, you also have to be careful about putting your mail in them now because people are stealing your checks.
And that's
cards, right?
That's a big thing. You never want to do that. I'm so glad you brought that up because when you put that red flag up, you go off to work. What is that saying to me if I'm a scammer?
Right.
What's in there?
Exactly. Nobody's home. Go check it out.
Yeah, so you don't want to do that. If you can possibly go to the post office to deliver that piece of mail, do so. I also think there's another easier way. If you like to do online e-statements, the less to your mailbox, the best possible, recourse for you to be able to like deal with any kind of fraud. Exactly. And if you do want to get a P.O. box at the post office, you can also do that. That's under lock and key, it goes right from there, right there, and that's it. So mail fraud, remember that. That's a huge one for me. Protecting your mail, even if you're sending out gifts, you want to be able to register them. Don't just like stick it in your mailbox. And if UPS or FedEx or somebody is delivering like Amazon, keep a track of that. They have those services. I don't know if Amazon.
Right, they take pictures of it on your porch.
So it's going to be there. So and there's a lot of scam with that.
Even though that they may choose to go online for these services, now we have to be aware of those fraudulent things as well, right? Because now it's a whole different avenue of fraud.
Exactly. And with all the online scams and what's going on, the elderly are the most at risk for this.
Absolutely.
Because they're not as computer savvy as we are. So having a confidant, a person that they can go to that can immediately be with them, help them, and notice if anything's changing along the way.
Yeah.
Are their attitudes changing? Are their focuses changing? Because they're going to get very overwhelmed by this whole new world that we're in that they're not really understanding.
It's kind of like an emotional manipulation, right? Because they, you always hear that grandparent scam. Like you get the call and they say like your granddaughter, your grandson, needs help, or pretending it's them because of AI,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence, or cloning. And you mentioned something to me about that one time, like if I get a phone call and
sometimes people will call these solicitors, the fraudsters will call and they'll be asking you a question very similar to, can you hear me?
Yes. Oh.
And you just said it. So they're capturing your voice saying yes, and therefore they'll use that and sign you up for various things because now you have confirmed these additional services. So it was suggested that in reply you'd be saying, I hear you.
Okay.
And oftentimes they would repeat it again.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Because they're looking for that particular
They're looking for you
yes.
to say yes. And if you don't give that confirmation, sometimes the call will just drop and they'll move on to the next victim.
And that's why we get all those fake promotional items in the mail, right?
Yeah.
I keep going back to the mail. But sometimes, even with our business, right? Like even it may have our logo on it as Hanscom Federal Credit Union, but be super careful with that. You want to look at the very bottom. Is it really coming from us? Call your bank or call whoever the vendor is to make sure that is really the promotion.
Exactly.
Because on the bottom, in the very small print, you might need to say, well, it's not us, right? So
there might be a typo or something. And oftentimes, if someone calls you with an offer or some sort of solicitation, jot down their information, their phone number, but then look it up yourself and call. Don't take.
They also,
good point, Colleen.
I would say, elderly need to be careful. And not just elderly, everybody needs to be careful on your social media pages, Facebook, Instagram.
Story there.
Because you get the ads that just pop up, and people are so quick to click on it, and now you've got all this junk in your computer. They've got their way through to your computer.
Or they're holding your computer as hostage. We've had a few people come in with that scenario.
Exactly.
They were instructed to pay X amount of dollars. And oftentimes it would be a wire transfer. And we know that once a wire transfer is sent, there is just no way of getting that money back. Or they're asking you to pay them with gift cards. And you're to take a picture of the barcodes in the back and send them that. And so that's how these things are being.
How is my Target gift card gonna get you out of trouble in Aruba? Like I never understood.
Sell it out,
But there is a way, and they've figured it out.
Oh, for
so
sure.
you really do need to be extra.
Absolutely.
Ask as many
and
questions.
One other thing that you had brought up about having a confidant with the elderly is checking their mental state and their demeanor, their personality. Oftentimes, the elderly are lonely. I don't care if it's male or female, there's scammers out there that are looking, and they will prey upon someone's loneliness just for that companionship.
A lot of times if they see that they've lost their spouse or their companion, they see that in the obituaries.
The obituaries
you
huge.
are you're a prime target because of it.
So they'll friend you, and they might start sending you these like flowery emails, maybe a little gifts in the mail, maybe some actual flowers. And then, a month or two goes by and, I'm in jail. Can you send me some money? Oh, I've got a sick relative. Can you send me some money?
Yeah.
And now, you're
You've hooked
emotionally
into that. Yeah,
you're
you've
emotionally
hooked into that.
invested in this person.
Exactly.
You've got this friendship, possibly flourishing a relationship with this person. Meanwhile, they're bleeding you dry.
Exactly. And that's where it online, it's good to have your profiles locked down private so that only you and your friends can see it, not your friends of friends or their friends. I mean, it becomes like he said and he on and on and on.
I see that on my Facebook page oftentimes. I think mine, or I thought mine was pretty locked down, but I will see someone comment on something else like, Lauren, your page is wonderful. You're so earthy. You're warming. Let's be friends.
Exactly. And you don't know who that is, but they might have spoofed off of somebody you do know, added them to their profile.
And you have to be careful if there is a friend that you have had for a long time, and then all of a sudden you get another friend request from that friend,
Because
the
they
first
were
initial
hacked.
thing
Right,
is to
because
click
they were
on
hacked,
it.
right.
Oh yeah, Lauren, I work with her all the time, but I'm already friends with her. How did I not be? But it's your identical profile.
Right.
Same picture and everything.
Yes,
They've
and
taken
you don't even
it
think
all.
twice, and then before you know it, my friends get that same, and then that just bleeds through that.
I did. I went through and double checked all my settings to make sure everything was private. And it's easy enough to do. You just go to the privacy section on Facebook or Instagram and it will walk you through. Lock it down to just your friends can see your post.
Yeah.
And that cuts out some of the
And there is like
goulash you're
an
gonna get.
opt out for I don't know if you know, but like it's 1-800 opt out, and you can go and call. And there's also an online website you can go into that you can opt out of certain things. Like now that we have Google, right? Back in my day, we didn't have it. But if you put your name in, you literally can get everything about your name, almost your phone number, who my relatives are, my kids' names.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Everything is out there.
build that whole dynamic, and they become who you are, and then that's really scary. And
Right.
and that's
Identity theft.
right, and that kind of plays off of like little things that I want to mention, like with the IRS and with the banks and stuff. You know, the IRS is not going to call you up and ask you for your social security number. They're
Right.
not going to call. The bank is not going to, or the credit union is not going to call you up and ask you for your credentials. And we're so accustomed to like, oh, that's my bank, or what happened, and there's theft, and you want to immediately shut it down, so you're believing that person on the phone. So the IRS, will never, they'll tell you, you'll get a letter from us in the mail.
Right.
We will send you a letter in the mail if it's us. Very really, unless you have that one-on-one rapport with your own members, will we ever call you?
Exactly.
Asking for
Exactly.
it. Yep. Going back to the Facebook and the online dating, Facebook has its own kind of dating service.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of
Did
those
not know that.
a lot of those profiles now, if you look at them, some of them are military men. And if you're savvy enough, you'll notice that it's a new profile, and the pictures have just been posted like within, a couple of days, couple of hours of each other.
Wow.
And what's, you're thinking, if you're single, if you're looking to create a relationship, someone military, they're often, their profile says that they're widowed. And that's just one of those, baits that they just toss out there for the single women
Wow.
looking for love and romance.
Oh my. That's crazy.
Well, there's plenty of scams. We could sit here all day and talk about it, but it stems from, I guess, locking down your profile, keeping your personal information safe. Don't share your passwords. If you do, okay, I'm going to ask you this: if you do fall victim, what do you do?
First thing you got to do is call the Trade Commission,
Yeah,
for identity
Federal Trade
theft.
Commission.
Right.
And then absolutely, get in touch with your credit bureaus. I would pull your credit bureaus because you can get one free every year, and put a
Well,
customer
right now
message
I
on them.
learned if you go to freecreditreport.com, they haven't locked it down. You can get a free credit report every single day.
Oh, that's good to know because
Every single day.
Every single day.
Oh,
they
wow.
have not shut it down since COVID.
Okay.
that's good to know.
And then also, you want to contact your local police department and get that report.
And reach out to your financial institutions.
Yeah.
I would also power down your computer and not be doing anything through that until you get it checked and cleaned.
Yeah.
And if there's
There's a-
someone that you trust, sorry, but if there's someone that you trust, you do want to tell them, especially if you're elderly, right? If there's someone that you might not know how to call all these people.
This is where having somebody you can go to as an elderly person that you trust, that has got your best interests at heart to help you maneuver these things. Also, you should have safeguards in place, i.e. a trust, power of attorneys,
We talked about that last time.
because as you get older, and we're all getting there, you get a little more forgetful.
Bite your tongue.
You get, you forget where you put things. Having somebody that can help you with all of these things, that is trusted, that will keep an eye on everything to make sure people coming into your home aren't taking advantage of you. It's huge what
Yeah.
a lonely
absolutely.
person
It's
at
very
home, and not just the elderly, just a lonely person will allow people to come in and sit, and now they know where all your things are. You really have to be
Yeah.
very observant of what's going on in your own home.
Absolutely. Got to have your guard
And
up.
you mentioned that there are books or something out there that you can...
Yeah, for family members. I don't think it even has to be elderly. I think it would be good just to have, because God only knows what can happen when we leave here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are files you can buy, like a file cabinet, books, and it has all that information. You can put the titles to your car, you can put your insurance policies, you can put all that information, all your final wishes, if there's something special that you want happen, or to go to somebody, put it in there. Yeah, there's plenty out there. Amazon.com, you could probably pick one up at Walmart, but that's good to have, and a lifesaver for a family member, to have in their possession, to help ease things through that crisis.
It's a very emotional situation when that happens, right? You feel like somebody's taken over your whole life, and you have to just kind of breathe through it.
99%
but if you can do
of
that
the time.
now, if you can do it now when you're not in that moment, things will be a lot smoother, a lot calmer. Your wishes will be written down, and a heck of a lot easier for the family when that crisis happens.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well.
And we know, because we live it every day, once the money is gone, it is very, very hard to even see any of it back.
And it's hard if your identity is also taken away. That kind of goes for years.
Yes,
because you're always keeping that fraud alert on your credit report. So when you come into the credit union and we're pulling credit, it's like a whole, we got to get it off, put it on, and your Social Security is out there. I mean, we've seen, and I know we've all seen it being in the industry, people will walk in with a license that looks exactly like the person that's in front of you, but it's not them, but it's an identity of, say, me, and it's your face, and
exactly,
and we do our due diligence being in the industry, but how did they get all of that information?
And sometimes it's through no fault of our own, but it gets past us, and it happens to the best of us.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of takeaways here.
That's how good the fraudsters are getting, which is scary.
Yeah. Gosh, we could talk for hours on this stuff and how it all intertwines, and the different safeguards.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I think that, if anybody would like to reach out to any one of us, we will support them in any way that we can, because this is something that we do training on. And, whether you're a member with Hanscom Federal Credit Union or not, we're here to support and help you and guide you and try to give you the best advice we can.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes.